Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into why central banks around the world are scrambling to buy gold. It's honestly pretty wild what's happening right now. We're talking record-breaking purchases, and it seems like every other week, there's another headline about some country adding tons and tons of gold to their reserves. So, what's driving this insatiable appetite for gold? Let's break it down. Central banks are buying gold like crazy, and one of the biggest reasons is to hedge against the US dollar and inflation. I mean, think about it, the US dollar has been the world's reserve currency for decades, but lately it's been looking a little shaky, you know? A lot of countries are starting to get a little nervous about how much power the US actually has over the global economy. They're looking for ways to reduce their dependence on the dollar, because let's be honest, the US hasn't exactly been shy about printing money like it's going out of style. And that brings us to inflation. When you print trillions of dollars, guess what happens? The value of each dollar goes down. It's basic supply and demand. So, countries are looking for ways to protect themselves from this constant devaluation of their reserves. And what better way to do that than with an asset that's been a store of value for thousands of years? Gold is like the ultimate insurance policy against economic uncertainty. It's a tangible asset that's held its value for centuries, and it doesn't really care about what's happening with the stock market or the latest political drama. It's just gold. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, geopolitical risk. The world's a pretty crazy place right now, and things are getting a little tense to say the least. We've got wars, sanctions, and countries throwing their weight around left and right, and all of this uncertainty is making central banks really nervous. Remember what happened when Russia invaded Ukraine? The West froze trillions of dollars of Russia's foreign reserves. That was a huge wake-up call for a lot of countries, especially those that might not be on the best terms with the US and its allies. It showed them that their foreign currency reserves could be turned into political pawns overnight. So, what's the solution? You guessed it, gold. Gold is like the Switzerland of assets. It's neutral, it doesn't play sides, and it can't be frozen by some government on the other side of the world. This is why we're seeing countries like China and Russia buying up gold hand over fist. They're basically saying, we're not putting all our eggs in the US dollar basket anymore. Let's be honest, the global financial system hasn't exactly been a beacon of stability lately, right? I mean, we've had one crisis after another. The 2008 financial crisis, the European debt crisis, and now we're seeing banks collapse again in 2023. It's enough to make anyone question the whole system. And here's the thing, central banks are starting to lose faith in the very system they helped create. They see the cracks in the foundation, and they know that the next crisis might be just around the corner. When you add in the trillions of dollars of debt that governments are racking up, it's no wonder that central banks are looking for a safe haven. Gold is like the anti-establishment asset. It doesn't rely on any government or central bank to back it up. It's a tangible asset with intrinsic value, and that's incredibly appealing in a world where trust in traditional institutions is eroding faster than ever. Chapter 4. Diversification of reserves. Okay, let's talk about diversification. It's like the golden rule of investing, right? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And that's exactly what central banks are doing with gold. They're realizing that having all their reserves in just a few currencies like the US dollar or the euro is incredibly risky. Think about it this way. If something happens to one of those currencies like a sudden crash or a prolonged period of inflation, their entire portfolio takes a massive hit. So, they're looking for ways to diversify their holdings and reduce their exposure to any single currency. And guess what fits the bill perfectly? You got it, gold. Gold has historically had a low correlation with other assets like stocks and bonds. This means that when those markets are going haywire, gold tends to hold its value or even go up, acting as a buffer against those losses. It's like the ultimate portfolio diversifier. Chapter 5. Gold's rising strategic importance. Gold is more than just a shiny metal, it's a strategic asset, and its importance on the world stage is only growing. I mean, think about it. Gold is universally recognized and accepted. You can trade it anywhere in the world without having to worry about exchange rates or complicated financial instruments. And here's where it gets really interesting. There's a growing belief that a group of countries, maybe the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, could potentially create a new global reserve currency backed by gold. Imagine a world where the US dollar is no longer the dominant force in the global economy. That's a huge shift in power, and it's something that has the potential to reshape the geopolitical landscape as we know it. And gold is right at the center of it all. Chapter 6. Gold prices are climbing, and it's self-reinforcing. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the price of gold. It's been on a tear lately, and there's a good reason for that. This massive demand from central banks is a major driver of the gold bull market. It's a classic case of supply and demand. As more and more central banks buy up gold, the limited supply becomes even more scarce, driving up the price. But here's the kicker. As the price goes up, it creates a self-reinforcing cycle. Other central banks see gold appreciating in value, and they don't want to be left behind. So they start buying too, which pushes the price up even further. It's like a fear of missing out, FOMO, at the central bank level. They see the writing on the wall, and they're scrambling to get their hands on as much gold as possible before it potentially becomes even more expensive or harder to acquire. Outro: the golden conclusion. So, there you have it. Those are just a few of the reasons why central banks are buying gold hand over fist. They're hedging against a weakening dollar and inflation, preparing for geopolitical uncertainty, and diversifying their reserves, all while capitalizing on gold's rising strategic importance. The big question is, what does this mean for the future of the global financial system? Is this the beginning of a new gold standard? Or is it just a temporary blip on the radar? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. Central banks are sending a clear message with their gold purchases, and it's a message that we should all be paying attention to. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. See you next time.